Good evening, welcome to Prime Edition. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, today we have been covering the streets for you, finding out more about what has been going on when it comes to the protests in Nairobi and Mombasa, and we will be taking you to other parts of the county. We also do have an interview for you with engineer John Tanui, the PS for ICT and Economy. We will be talking about Kenya's digital job agenda and also in business. A report that a lot of you have been waiting on, the foreign investment report. And in sports, we do have for you the Olympic watch and much more. We want to have the highlights first and then start with the bulletin. A win for the Gen Z protesters as the High Court bars the National Police Service from banning protests.
We will not accept disrespect from ODM. Sisi tumewapatia nafasi tatu. Sasa mnatuonyesha madharau.
Sibling bullying. Wiper Party accuses ODM of attempts to force other Azimio partners to join the Kenya Kwanza government. And the Mukuru superhero, we bring you the story of a 27-year-old man whose heroics enabled the retrieval of bodies from a quarry in Mukuru, Kwanjenga. Welcome back. Now, we would love to hear from you. You can send us your comments on our social media pages. That is KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, Instagram. And let's start with the day's bulletin, where normalcy returned to the capital central business district, with several businesses opening up and traffic on the roads witnessing a minimal surge. Business operators who opened the shops today say the protests affected them negatively and hoped they would make some income today to foot Tuesday's losses. Police officers, however, remained in the CBD to keep calm and thwart any attempts of protests erupting.
Nairobi's central business district witnessed a return to normalcy. Several businesses stayed open as business owners hoped to make an extra coin today following the Tuesday protests that saw them in car losses. Other premises, however, chose to remain closed to avoid any distraction in case protests erupted. Police officers were posted across several sections of the central business district, ready to deal with any unusual occurrence. Business owners and entrepreneurs say the normalcy today has granted them an opportunity to earn their daily bread.
Tuesday hatukufanya kazi, lakini leo kuna tofauti. Leo tunaona kuna mtu anaweza na kitu nyumbani.
Kukiwa na maandamano hakuna pesa. Hakuna kitu. Tunatumia pesa ya jana. Kisikali kuna maandamano tunatumia pesa ya jana. Hakuna kitu.
Siku yenye kuna maandamano biashara lugamba inaathirika. Kuna customer anakuja kukumba hiyo anaogopa kutoka nyumba juu ya maandamano.
So currently this is the situation outside Uhuru Park, where police officers are standing guard outside here to ensure that no unauthorized persons or vehicles is allowed to access this area. Similar roadblocks were mounted across several critical government installations to keep out any unauthorized persons. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now let's go to the coast, where most of the businesses within the Mombasa Central Business District continued uninterrupted for the better part of the day, with few others remaining closed for fear of demonstrations and vandalism of property. Security was not left to chance as the police patrolled both on foot and in police vehicles. Business owners in the county are now calling on the youth to end the protests and give the president ample time to work on their demands.
Was the situation in the Mombasa Central Business District. For the last 3 weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays have been marked by anti-government protests in the country, but today things were different. Despite prior plans to continue the protests, the streets remained clear of any protesters. Most of the shops in the CBD remained open, with few others remaining closed for fear of demonstrations. Traffic was flowing with the matatu operators going about their business. There was a heavy presence of police in the town, patrolling both on foot and in police vehicles to ensure the port city remained calm. Traders who spoke to KBC Channel 1 lamented poor customer turnout and called on the youth to call off the protests, stating that the president has already heeded to some of their demands, thus to give him ample time to work on the remaining ones.
Maandamano anafanya biashara haziendi, mainvesta wanakimbia kwa sababu ile president haathiriki na kitu chochote. Mkamwambia abandue mawaziri ameshaabandua. IBC ndio hiyo mkamwambia afanye, Aisha anataka kufanya. Sasa amjampa time, mtaka aondoke ende wapi? So mimi naambia vijana relax, waachane na president afanye kazi yake. Mambo ya kuandamana hayakusaidii chochote.
President ashakubali matakwa ya vijana na waomba watulie, tupatie rais muda kiasi atekeleze yale matakwa yetu. Na after that mambo itakuwa shwari. So wakiendelea kuandamana hivyo wanatuadhiri kibiashara. Pia sisi tunataka amani.
Well, the nation has suffered a loss of 6 billion shillings since the demonstrations recently witnessed in the country began, according to data from the Kenya Revenue Authority. Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, who expressed deep regret over the recurring violence, appealed to the youth and other protesters to reconsider their plans to further demonstrations.
The government has expressed deep regret over the recurring violence that has gripped the country for the past month following the first protest on June 18, 2024. A significant concern raised by the government is the profound economic impact of the protests, where businesses across the country have faced substantial losses, with many forced to close their doors during demonstrations.
We cannot forget the business people who have suffered huge losses as their businesses remained closed during the demonstrations, losing billions of shillings. We wish to empathize with them as they strive to recoup their lost incomes. The country has lost approximately 6 billion shillings, according to KRA, as a result of the demonstrations, and fears abound that if the protests continue, the economy will have a negative impact.
Speaking to the press at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura appealed to the youth and other protesters to reconsider their plans for further demonstrations, highlighting that many of the issues raised have already been addressed.
These actions signify a shift in policy, demonstrating the power of your collective voices. While we urge to demonstrate a strong prick to our souls as well, so that we recognize the progress made so far in addressing the concerns of fellow Kenyans, and to allow the changes already taken to actually percolate and to have the right kind of effect, so that our country can grow economically, socially, politically, and even spiritually.
Mwaura further called on the public to embrace patriotism and work together to build a peaceful and progressive country, calling on everyone to reject those seeking to benefit from foreign donors with ulterior motives and instead focus on restoring normalcy and unity in the nation.
Makueni Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. now says there is an elaborate attempt by the Orange Democratic Movement to force its Azimio affiliate party to merge with Kenya Kwanza to form a broad-based government. Mutula alleges that the scenes witnessed at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation on Wednesday demonstrate how far ODM is willing to go in whipping other parties to fall into line. Meanwhile, Raila Odinga has apologized for the mayhem witnessed on Tuesday, where journalists were assaulted and chased away by goons.
Following the disruption of Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka press conference shortly after the Azimio la Umoja coalition meeting over the proposed national dialogue to end Gen Z's protest, Makueni Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. has termed the ordeal as disrespect to the Wiper leader.
It is extremely unfortunate ODM must treat Kalonzo Musyoka with respect. That's it, tafadhali.
The Makueni governor, who spoke in Boni, Makueni County, said Raila Odinga-led ODM party should not intimidate Wiper movement and other Azimio affiliates to join the Kenya Kwanza administration.
We will not accept disrespect from ODM. Sisi tumewapatia nafasi tatu. Sasa mnatuonyesha madharau.
This as ODM leader Raila Odinga on Thursday tendered an apology to the media fraternity after journalists were assaulted by hooligans at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation. In a statement, his spokesperson said, and I quote, Raila Odinga regrets the events of Wednesday and takes this early opportunity to offer unreserved apologies to the journalists and fellow leaders who got caught up in the unfortunate incident. End of quote. ODM added that Odinga assured the journalists and fellow leaders that the coalition will take stock of the events and seal loopholes that led to the security breach to ensure that journalists and leaders remain safe and free at all Azimio functions. End of quote. Further, the Kenya Editors Guild has condemned the continued attacks on journalists being targeted for their work or in the line of duty by officers of the National Police Service. The media fraternity held that it is not the first time such attacks against media houses or individual journalists by state or non-state actors have been witnessed. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Two separate opinion polls released Thursday reveal that most young people support a number of administrative measures taken by the government to respond to demands. According to InfoTrack, withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024 garnered the highest support at 94%, followed by the dissolution of the government at 89%, while TIFA indicates that 53% support the president's decision to dismiss his cabinet.
InfoTrack Gen Z opinion poll conducted between the 14th and 15th of July 2024 with a sample size comprising of 1,000 respondents aged 18 to 27 years reveals Gen Z support measures the president took in response to the protests. Withdrawal of Finance Bill 2024 garnered the highest support at 94%, followed by the dissolution of the cabinet at 89%, the review of budgetary allocations at 87%, and the resignation of former Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome at 76%. TIFA, however, reveals that a majority of those who supported dissolution of cabinet were Kenya Kwanza supporters. However, InfoTrack reveals the majority of 72% oppose the deployment of the Kenya Defence Forces KDF to assist the police in managing the protests. TIFA, in a poll conducted between 16th and 17th July 2024 from 1,507 respondents, indicates that 40% of Kenyans support reappointment of dismissed performing cabinet secretaries, with Northeastern region with the highest at 63%. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
The High Court in Milimani has barred the Acting Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, from banning public demonstrations in Nairobi's Central Business District. Justice Bahati Mwamuya has at the same time directed Kanja to circulate an official communication regarding the orders she issued to all officers at the National Police Service by tomorrow, Friday, July 19th, and file evidence in court showing they have abided by her directive. Details are in the Scales of Justice segment.
In an order issued on Thursday, Justice Bahati Mwamuye directed the IG and any other person serving within the National Police Service to refrain from enforcing the 17th July decision communicated in a press release. In the petition, Katiba Institute argued that the acting IG had taken the decision solely in determining when a right under the Constitution can be enjoyed. The court was informed that it is in the public interest that people be allowed to exercise their right to demonstrate peacefully and unarmed, and police should ensure the people who assemble are protected and do not use force. The orders by NPS remain suspended pending the hearing and determination of the petition by the Katiba Institute challenging the ban on the protest. Further directions will be issued on July 29th. With the court's ruling Thursday, protesters are now free to go back to the streets, a day after the acting Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja barred protesters from Nairobi CBD. Elsewhere, social media influencer Francis Gaidho and businessman Ali Nur Mohammed have been charged with the publication of false information and cyber harassment.
I believe the charge sheet cannot be framed. They took fingerprints from him, which I protested. The habit of taking the fingerprints is found nowhere in the common law country except Kenya.
Gaidho and Mohammed appeared before Senior Principal Magistrate Robinson Ondeke, where Gaidho was charged with publication of false information, claiming the DCI arrested the wrong person as the prime suspect in the Kware killings, while the latter was separately charged with falsely representing State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed on his social media handles.
I pray that this court also puts this matter on an issue of balance, because he will not be able to fend for his people, because the phone is a primary contact for a business person.
So there is nothing more which are within the phones that the prosecution or the investigating officer needs.
According to the charge sheet, Ali Nur falsely claimed Hussein had expressed his frustrations with the government.
And the court shall commit an error if it ordered for the release before the forensic process is completed. I shall not be able to trespass into the independence of other institutions' roles. However, the prosecution have submitted that it shall be ready by the 1st of August 2024 when the matter comes up for pre-trial directions, and so be it.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Chalo Wambua, the man whose heroics has enabled the police to retrieve the bodies dumped in a quarry in Mukuru, says he has been doing it for years. Speaking exclusively to KBC Channel 1, Chalo says families have been turning to him to retrieve their loved ones from the pit. Job has also embraced gracefully, having failed to secure employment as a plant operator. The 27-year-old says his dream is to join the Kenyan Navy.
Born and raised in Makueni County, Chalo Wambua moved to Mukuru Kwenjenga area of Nairobi in search of greener pastures after completing his plant operation course at the Kilimambogo Institute. But his efforts to secure a job have been futile. He says he started retrieving bodies from Kware dump site in 2018.
Si mara yangu ya kwanza kuingia pale. Nimekuwa nikiingia mara kwa mara. Kama ni mtu amejitupa, nilikuwa tunaingia na watu wao. Lakini hakuna mmoja tumewaitoa akiwa hai, na tuanga tu wote wakiwa wamekufa.
Despite experiencing mental illness after the activity, he says he did it as a side hustle until Friday 12th July when he received a call from Evelyn Wetindi, who claimed to have a loved one at his side.
Kuna mama alionyeshwa kwa ndoto, yaani msichana wao ako kwa shimo. Huyo mama tuliwasiliana na akanipigia simu, namba yangu tunakwanga hapo kwa post kwa police station. Sasa huyo mama vile alinilia, mimi nilijieka tu kwa mikono yake, nikajiuliza kama angekuwa mtu wangu na nimepata mtu anaweza niokolea vile ningesikia, then mimi kajituma.
But was he aware that he was putting his health and life at risk?
Hapa tunahofia, lakini kulingana na ile tu huruma yule mtu tu amenikujia nayo na akanielezea, inabidi tu niingie, hata kama tu nitaingia tu ikiwa mwangalifu sana.
And now Chalo is appealing to the government to secure him a job at the Kenya Navy.
Mimi ningeomba kama serikali inanisikia, mimi nilikuwa tu ndoto yangu inaweza timia nikiingia Kenya Navy, mabarua kitaka nikunazo.
Kasi Chana Masha, Prime Edition.
A true hero right there. Now, at least 100 secondary boarding schools in the country are set to benefit from efficient lighting equipment that will help in reducing electricity bills. A team of inspectors from the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority and Sustainable Energy for All organizations inspected various schools to assess their readiness for the pilot project. Details on this and more stories making headlines in our county.
The schools will receive donations of LED light tubes and solar outdoor lighting appliances from Signify Foundation through the State Department for Energy to replace the high energy consuming fluorescent tube lights and bulbs.
Our electricity bills are very high and they have really shot up in the recent past. This is a very big challenge for us because funding is a problem, first of all. We depend on the government for funding. So sometimes we are even threatened that the electricity will be cut off. So it makes us go out of our way to inconvenience other voteheads so that we can just pay the electricity bill and so that the students can keep learning.
Elsewhere, a section of engineers now wants the reconstitution of the Engineers Board of Kenya, claiming it has failed in its mandate of regulating the industry.
You cannot have a body that does not include every cadre of engineering level. We have levels from students, graduates, professional engineers to consulting engineers. You cannot have a body that is regulating the whole profession without inclusion of all these cadres.
The government has beefed up security at Leme Conservancy, located within the Masai Mara National Reserve in Narok County, following wrangles between two warring parties who are opposed to the construction of a camp in the area.
Tumeeleza watu wa Mara Conservancy wafanye kazi yao kwa amani, kushambulia na kuharibu mambo ya wageni kutembelea kule Mara. Hii ni msimu ya utalii na tutakubali yote. Yoyote ambaye atakuja kuchukua sheria mikononi yake, mambo ya kuweka mabarabara ama kuweka vizuizi kwa barabara, tutashughulikia.
Meanwhile, conservationists are calling for collaboration between the government and non-governmental organizations to support local pastoral communities in environmental conservation.
Since I was elected as a governor of Isiolo, I saw the benefit which other conservancies are accruing from NRTs and its pastorals. Then I decided to tell our people to accept this concept of conservancies.
And irate residents from Kenyanya sub-county in Kisii County stormed the house of a suspect and torched it after the body of the deceased was found lying near his homestead.
Sasa vile nimeamka nataka kupia watu wa nyumbani niwauliza alikuja huku, nikapata watu wanapiga nduru kutoka kwa barabara. Kukimbia nikafikiria ni mtu amegongwa na gari. Kukimbia ndio nikapata wengine wanakimbia kuniambia ati Samson amepatikana ametupwa kwa mtaa.
For Prime Edition, I'm Christine Matunda.
Well, how have the demos affected the tourism sector? That and much more coming up in the business section shortly.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Kupitia kwa star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this brand new Mazda Demio.
Enjoy a beautiful, clean, semi-leather interior, low mileage, touchscreen and a reverse cam, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business.
Ukitaka kujishindia gari hili, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option number 4, kisha unajiunga na draw. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Gari ya pili ni yako. Ni yako.
Hii Julai, jishindie Demio na Loto Moto. Tucheze, tusaidie na tushinde.
Unajua, token mita yako inahitaji system update. Ni rahisi na ni free. Ukipata ujumbe kutoka Kenya Power, yani SMS, weka kodi ya kwanza kureset, alafu weke kodi ya pili kuupdate ili token mita yako iendelee kufanya kazi kama kawaida. Update token mita yako. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. Non-performing loans for banks jumped to a high of 15.6% in 2023, occasioned by a challenging business environment and an asset quality that was going downwards. The latest Central Bank Annual Supervision Report indicates that the increase in bad loans from 13.2% in 2022 was fueled by increased interest rates, reflecting the tightening of the monetary policy stance and liquidity conditions in the market.
The latest annual supervision report by the Central Bank of Kenya shows that the banking industry gross non-performing loans increased by 28.6% to 647.4 billion shillings in 2023. This is against a loan book of 4 trillion shillings that banks advanced to various sectors. The ratio of non-performing loans to gross loans increased to 15.3% from 13.8% in 2022, attributed to the high cost of borrowing as a result of the central bank increasing its CBR rate and the weak business environment. This prompted banks in 2023 to set aside 527 billion shillings to cover the non-performing loans. Chachi Logutu, an economist at IC Group, is calling for adjustment of monetary policy stance in next review, proposing a reduction of the benchmark lending rate by 300 basis to reflect the current inflationary environment as well as reduce the cost of credit.
Actually inclined towards supporting a cut. The 300 basis points, is here, not there, but towards a cut. We're behind the curve in the sense that even inflation was had started showing signs that it's coming lower. Because basically, as monetary policy response, it's basically to be counter-cyclical, not act on the data that is there, but how will the data be, and then start coming in. But those, my view was that the cuts were backward-looking rather than forward-looking.
The benchmark lending rate was pushed at an 11-year high of 13% in February this year and has remained at that rate, making the cost of loans expensive. The annual supervisory report indicates that in 2023, banks posted 8.8% decline in combined pre-tax profits that dipped from 240.4 billion shillings in 2022 to 219 billion shillings in 2023, which was attributed to an increase in total expenses. Gerald Nyaoma, Director, Bank Supervision Department at the Apex Bank, noted that deepening the greening of the banking sector is top of the agenda in 2024. In addition, the central bank is keen on strengthening banking sector liquidity by issuance of internal liquidity assessment process guidance notes, strengthening of the anti-money laundering framework, as well as a move towards a near real-time supervision through the collection of supervisory data on an almost real-time basis. Weri Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Funding gaps are hindering the transition to renewable energy. Funding institutions and governments are being urged to prioritize the increased investments in affordable and clean energy. Players in the renewable energy space say that insufficient investment is hindering empowerment of the entire value chain in acquiring renewable energy alternatives.
Kenya is known as a front-runner in the transition towards 100% clean energy by 2030, while ensuring universal access to electricity is achieved at the earliest. However, experts say that Kenya could benefit more by increasing local community involvement in the green transition.
Fossil fuels are often a trap for developing countries. Fossil fuels are exported abroad for the benefit and prosperity of rich nations. And we often see that African countries who export fossil fuels have lower growth rates than African countries that don't.
As civil society, as community a representative or leaders, we have to continue making sure that the voice of the communities and the locals are heard. So while sometimes people can get a little bit frustrated by the result or the slowness of the processes, it's imperative that the groups like ours and the communities show up in this conference and play what we want.
Speaking during the launch of Repower Africa, a new campaign aimed at uniting local community renewable energy projects, players pointed to urging financiers and governments to prioritize and increase investments in affordable and clean energy.
With what we are asking for, if we present in united front as Africans, East Africans, with 1, 2, 3 clear and concrete demands, then we also pressure our own leaders on the continent.
Campaigns like these are targeting communities at the forefront of the climate crisis and aim to start actions in countries where renewable energy campaigns are already active. Currently, Kenya hopes to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 32% by 2030 and achieve net zero by 2050. Kenya's Renewable Energy Integration Plan will support access to clean, adequate, affordable and reliable electricity in the country. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Now, at least 12,742 new jobs were created as a result of increased foreign direct investments in Kenya in the 3-year period to 2022. This is according to the latest Kenya Bureau of Statistics report on foreign investment that indicates that growing investor confidence in Kenya has seen foreign liabilities increasing by 17.9 from 1.75 billion shillings in 2020 to 2.06 billion shillings in 2022. As Trevor Ngeno narrates, the report says high cost of electricity and credit are the risks to growth.
The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with the Central Bank of Kenya and the Kenya Investment Authority, undertook the 2023 Foreign Investment Survey report to offer analytical insights on investment and international capital flows into Kenya in 2020, 2021 and 2022. The report says Kenya is an attractive destination for foreign investors, with the majority attributing it to internet reliability at 29.6% and transport and infrastructure at 24.4%. This has resulted in a 7.5% increase in total employment offered by enterprises that benefited from foreign direct investment to 181,956 employees in 2022. This is reflected in both local and foreign employees, accounting for 85% and 1% respectively, with female employees comprising 38.2% of the total, according to the latest Kenya Bureau of Statistics report on foreign investments. The total value of exports and imports in goods grew by 50.1% to 982 billion shillings in 2022, largely supported in the manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade sectors by enterprises. Finance and insurance accounted for the largest share of foreign direct investments at 31.5%, and the agriculture sector attracting an investment of 7.1%. On climate change, 87.7% of respondents to the survey by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics expressed their concern over the hesitation by investors to allocate resources towards climate change adaptation and mitigation initiatives. The report says some entrepreneurs have, however, raised concerns over the rising cost of electricity, credit and tax policies, calling for measures to address bureaucratic hurdles in accessing immigration and construction licenses. Trevor Ngindo for Prime Edition.
Welcome back. As I promised you that we do have an exclusive interview with Engineer John Tanui, the PS ICT and Digital Economy. Thank you so much, Engineer, for joining us.
Thank you, Cynthia. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I want us to talk about the digital agenda. Earlier on, I think it was in May, the President did talk about digital jobs and that the government is looking to ensure that in the next 5 years we will have at least 1 million digital jobs. How far have we gone with that plan?
Cynthia, the global economy is changing quite fast. There is a rise of what we call the digital economy.
Yes.
And the digital economy is growing probably 2.5 times faster than the physical economy. Mm-hmm. Some countries have managed to take their digital economy to even 40%
yes.
of the economy. Yes. Kenya's is about 7%, world average is about 15%. So when you look at this, we have huge potential as a country to enable our people access global opportunities from wherever they are, because the digital jobs provides a leverage of connecting the demand and supply of jobs and workers globally using digital infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So one of the first things we are doing as a country is to open access, internet connectivity across the country so that we can allow more of our people to access the global opportunities. We've started working with our TVET institutions, setting up devices, digital hubs with devices, and also providing connectivity. We have done now in over 174 digital hubs across the country. We've seen almost 152,000 jobs created. We've done trainings closing now towards 500,000, and we see this as a huge opportunity. There are many other things being done by the private sector. We've seen the rise of the business process outsourcing. We've seen successful cases of some top local BPOs having 2,000 workers, others now approaching 8,000 workers. Yeah. And this is the space that we are seeing a huge potential and a rise of younger BPOs taking 100 people, 200 people, and we just need to work on the numbers. We've also seen the establishment of what we call software development centers by top technology companies, and we can see some within a short time they are crossing 500 for top technology software development companies having over 500 workers. Others, just one Amazon Web Services launched late last year. Within 9 months, now they are crossing over 150, and these are top level jobs. So this space has huge potential, but requires quite a lot of work to be done.
Yes, and part of the work is also, sometimes we really hear people talking about just the laws, and of course our laws, some of our laws were not really prepared for what was going to happen in the IT sector. Is the government looking to at least implement new laws and policies to facilitate this growth?
Yes, the rise of digital jobs is not only unique to Kenya, it's a global phenomenon. So not only Kenya is facing challenges aligning its historical labor laws to the current and the future of work. And in Kenya, we are working together with the other relevant ministries and agencies, Ministry of Industry, and also Ministry of Labor, to look at aligning the laws to the future of work. We are also building collaborations with the private sector and global bodies. This week I had a meeting with ILO so that we look at how to expand these jobs and also make sure the jobs are decent and sustainable for our people.
And what does this mean for the BPO sector?
The BPO sector, we've proven case. The feedback we get from the BPOs who have set up in Kenya is that quality of talent is excellent. And the BPOs are various global companies, and they are able to tell us their clients are very happy with the talent. And when you look at the other global, other countries globally, Philippines, India, they've done very well, but it took them several years. We believe Kenya stands a very good chance to grow this sector.
Yes.
The few PPOs who have set up in Kenya have engaged us. They have raised a few issues that they want us to address. We are working with them to address some of those issues, how to address issues of connectivity across the country so that they can set up anywhere in the country and be able to have reliable infrastructure. They've also looked at how we can combine some of our initiatives, affordable housing with digital hubs, and to be able to ensure that the large number of people who are in that space are able to access housing in a convenient way so that they can lower the distance of travel. They are also looking at other issues that will make Kenya very attractive globally, because for PPOs, we are not just competing locally or within the African continent. It means taking jobs from Asia to Africa, taking jobs from Europe or US, North America to Kenya. So we are looking at how to make Kenya a very competitive PPO destination, and we are engaging very closely with the players who are already in the country.
Yes, and how do we do that? How do we ensure, because there's a lot of competition globally, how do we ensure that our standards are even better than other nations to be able to attract them?
One of the things which we are working on is ensuring that ICT infrastructure in the country is reliable. And we are very grateful to our public sector and private sector. The country is well connected from the submarine cable to the global connectivity. Now we have closing towards 8 submarine cables connecting to Mombasa. That means we have sufficient capacity and redundancies. During the US visit, one of the outcomes was one of the companies, Google, has set up also an alternative connectivity, connecting from Mombasa through the land all the way to South Africa, providing capacity and redundancy. So this is one of the things that makes the country attractive. Secondly is to give attention to the PPOs which are already in the country. We've seen our leaders from members of parliament visiting some of these PPOs and listening to them. We've seen our leaders, even the president, visiting some of the PPO centers and positioning it correctly. So this, we believe, will give us the global attention to show that we are actually listening to them and working with them to see that we address their concerns and to see that we mainstream, because before PPOs and certain careers had not been clearly defined as careers in the country. And we are working with that. Soon some of the amendments they've suggested will be put forward so that we can make sure PPO is mainstream in this country.
A lot of times when we see foreign investment coming in, a lot of them set up within Nairobi and the environs. How do we then ensure that for many who come, there are incentives perhaps to also want to invest outside Nairobi and go to the different counties in the country?
So Nairobi is quite attractive for many reasons. Infrastructure, the ecosystem, the housing, the lifestyle, it's good. And we are very happy those who have set up in Nairobi. We've seen some moving now to Kiambu, Tatu City. You can see there is an hub-tech, and we have a very vibrant PPO there. It was launched very recently and is working on taking about 5,000 new workers. We have listened to them. One of the things they want is connectivity across the country. So this is something we are working on as part of our digital superhighway initiative to ensure every part of our country has connectivity, capacity, and what we call reliability. In case of a cut in one area, the location cannot be cut off. So those are some of the concerns, and they will be even attracted to our other outside Nairobi because of cost. Because live in Nairobi, the cost is higher. So if we can address the issue of connectivity, they will be able to move to those regions. And we are having conversations with them. There was a conference recently held in Nairobi, which brought some of the global BPOs in their hands. They're talking about quite a significant number of jobs in their hands if we can facilitate them and avail sufficient locations for them that they can consider.
Yes. Is the youth priority? We've been seeing our young people on the streets, and one of the things that they have really been talking about is also just lack of employment. Is the youth a priority in your program?
Youth is the backbone of the transformation of our country. This is the most important segment, and we are blessed to have very intelligent, vibrant youth in this country. They are very engaging. A week ago, we had conversation on X-Space about issues to do with ICT bill that we had, and we received very constructive feedback that will help us to relook at the sector.
Yes.
Within our Ministry and State Department, and in this all job creation, our focus is the youth. And it's a very exciting sector. If you look at PPOs, this is one of the digital jobs that's available. You can work under a PPO. This is an organized organization bringing thousands of people in one location, like the CCI in Tatu City, with now over 6,000 people. We look at one in Mombasa Road, Summer Source. So these are vibrant, and we need to have tens of these institutions in the country. This is one part. The other part is to look at Kenya, positioning Kenya as a software development destination. We've seen companies like Microsoft set up a software development center in Kenya. We've seen Amazon Web Services set up a development center in Kenya. This is another area that we need to work with them to see that we can attract global players in software development to locate their facilities and centers in Kenya. This will also unlock huge quality jobs in this space. This week we will be visiting Amazon Web Services Development Center to see what they have achieved in the last 9 months since they launched here. And it's quite exciting to see their progress. We are also looking at other sectors which has potential to create jobs, like cybersecurity.
Yes.
We are very happy to see Cisco set up a center within University of Nairobi, because within cybersecurity, there are open jobs. When you check, there are almost 3.5 million jobs open globally, and a good percentage of this can be done remotely. So we are looking at how to establish programs, enable our youth to be able to access these programs so that they can go out there and be able to access these jobs. We are discussing with also other technology partners like LinkedIn. How do we use their platforms for learning? How do we use their platform for linkage to global opportunities? We are also looking at other players globally who can come to this country and do the same in cybersecurity, in the areas of software development, in also another area called IT support. We've been in discussions with some companies from Germany who are looking at locating some special PPOs targeting at IT support. This is IT engineers who will have a support in some of the top engineering and technology companies, and they can operate from here. There is also another very interesting area that we are looking at. End of 2022 and early 2023, we started looking at how to address our digital superhighway at the last point. That means access. The individuals have broadband in terms of mobile broadband available, but they did not have the devices.
Yes.
And we are very happy to see Safaricom and others establishing the East African Device Assembly Kenya factory to work on production of devices.
Yes.
I was also able to visit about a week ago M-Copper, who have already manufactured over 1 million phones here in Kenya. This is a new emerging area. The electronic industry will open huge opportunities. So within that, about a year, we have over 1.5 million devices manufactured. And as a country, we have almost 65 million phones. It is possible that Kenyan demand can be every year over 10 million.
Yes.
So we think electronic industry is going to be an interesting space. There is a new space also called semiconductor industry.
Yes.
It is a high skill area, very challenging, But we are very happy to see Kenyans. We have individuals, experts in Tet and Kimathi University who have set up. We have a company called Semiconductor Technologies Limited.
Yes.
And they have started working on developing semiconductors. This is the basics of the electronics industry.
Yes.
And it is the highest value in the ecosystem in terms of job creation and also in terms of creation of wealth and value to the country.
Yes.
During the US visit, Kenya was able to be designated a technology partner to US. This will give Kenya opportunity to grow that sector.
Yes.
If you check countries like Malaysia and look at their exports and check what is the highest exports from that country, 23% of their exports is semiconductor industry.
Yes.
So if you combine semiconductor industry and electronic industry, this is an area we are working closely now with our Ministry of Industry, Ministry of ICT, and all the other sectors and the private sector to see how do we incentivize this sector so that it can create high quality jobs. And it's closely linked to the software industry. So if you combine those two in the future, our young people will get huge opportunities there.
Yes, and would you say that when it comes to the digital master plan that you are doing quite well and following up on the digital master plan, because one of the key issues about the digital master plan is to ensure that there is employment and economic growth, even as we come to the end of the interview?
We are happy that as a sector, we develop what we call the Digital Master Plan, which will guide Kenya's development in the ICT sector. It was developed by public sector and private sector.
Yes.
And we define all the key areas. Some of the things we identified was skilling, digital skills. And this is an area we are working with private sector. We appreciate the support we've gotten from MasterCard Foundation.
Yes, Ajira, the Ajira
they supported
program.
Ajira program.
Yes.
We've also worked with other partners, including AWS, Oracle, under the Chitume program.
Yes.
We want to enhance and accelerate the digital skilling program so that we have more people exposed to the digital space. We want also to work with specialized companies to see that we increase the skill in the tech space, the software development, cyber security, so that our young people can address. So that's one part, digital skilling under the Digital Master Plan. We are also looking at how to work towards digitizing government so that once we build a more digital government, we can realize a digital ecosystem. We will see digitization in private sector, in SMEs. This will open more opportunities for our young people. I'm very happy when I see some Kenyan companies starting to employ young Kenyans and developing softwares being used not only locally, but to see them being exported to our neighboring countries and even beyond.
Yes.
So those are the initiatives we want to do under the digital, as indicated in the Digital Master Plan, besides the connectivity and many other programs that will position our country to the next level.
Yes, it's interesting. A lot of the questions coming in right now, which unfortunately I can't ask because of time, are actually coming from the youth.
Yes.
And a lot of them have been mentioning Ajira, the Ajira program. But thank you so much, Engineer John Tanui, for joining us today. And he was talking about the Kenya's digital job agenda. And I would like to ask that you actually visit their website. Just go to icta.go.ke for those who have been asking questions, especially the youth, and find out the opportunities that are there for you.
Thank you.
Now, Lake Bogoria National Reserve in Kenya is not only famous, but a place a lot of you need to visit. That story is coming up shortly after the break.
Kwa star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this brand new Mazda Demio.
Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, touchscreen and a reverse cam, fuel efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business.
Ukitaka kujishindia gari hili, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza *570 hash, chagua option number 4, kisha unajiunga na draw. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Gari ya pili ni yako. Ni yako.
Hii Julai, jishindie Demio na Loto Moto. Tucheze, tusaidie na tushinde.
Join me on a journey as we unlock the secrets of a healthier and vibrant you. We'll also share real-life stories of courage and resilience. Plus, we provide practical health tips for living a healthy lifestyle, no matter what challenges you may face.
Welcome back. I'm so sorry I couldn't ask all of your questions. It was quite an engaging interview, but because of lack of time, we'll probably have to ask the PS to join us once again. Now, the tourism sector players are expressing concern that continuation of the protests that have gripped the country for 1 month now will significantly slow down recovery of the tourism sector. Tourism Professionals Association Chairperson Professor Ray Mutinda says the industry had expected to make a full recovery this year and match the 2019 numbers of at least 2 million tourists, but chances are now growing slimmer. Wycliffe Okech with more details.
Although no cancellations from foreign tourists have been registered since the onset of the Gen Z demos made last month, the tourism sector players are fearing that the industry would be hard hit if the protests continue. According to the Tourism Professionals Association chairperson, Professor Ray Mutinda, the industry had targeted a complete turnaround this year.
If all went on well, without any disturbance, then we were expecting a complete recovery of Kenya's tourism sector to match the statistics of 2019, which was our best year. That is our best when Kenya's tourism arrivals crossed the 2 million mark.
Professor Mutinda at the same time urged for a middle ground between the government and the aggrieved youths for a stable country, arguing that more protests will work against the country's image, thus further crippling tourism activities.
The months from July all the way to October, they're actually the peak period of visitors in this country, when we expect our hotels to be fully packed and we expect numbers to be coming to our country. And so anything that may disrupt the destination at a time like this really may not augur well with the numbers that we expect and with the destination in general.
Our hospitality industry gets affected because then it means many people don't come to Kenya. Many people will say we are not coming to Kisumu and many other counties. I'm sure that is not the direction we wish to go.
Meanwhile, the Tourism Professionals Association is pushing for legal changes to ensure qualified tourism professionals register with the association to ensure proper accountability.
And so regulating the conduct, the ethics, the professionalism of the members has to take a legal basis that now they can be regulated.
For Prime Edition from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Lake Bogoria National Reserve in Kenya is not only famous for its hot geysers with medicinal properties, but also a haven for migratory birds. The geysers are known for their ability to hard boil an egg, attract tourists seeking relaxation and healing, while bird watchers flock to the National Reserve to witness the diverse species that call Lake Bogoria home. Tonight on Magical Scenes, we highlight the natural wonder of Lake Bogoria.
Kenya is a land full of scenery, and in Marigat, Baringo County, the beauty has medicinal value. You see, Lake Bogoria National Reserve in the county of Baringo is situated in this location, and it is associated with hot geysers. Now, these hot geysers are used in a swimming pool. Nestled in the heart of the Great Rift Valley, the geysers of Lake Bogoria National Reserve and its environs are a natural wonder, with water temperatures reaching up to 100 degrees Celsius. The high mineral content of the geysers, including sulfur, silica, and magnesium, is believed to have therapeutic benefits for the skin and overall health. Visitors to this destination can soak in the hot springs, enjoy mud baths, and experience the rejuvenating effects of these natural waters. Lake Bogoria is also home to a unique spa swimming pool that draws its waters from the geysers.
There is a lot of research being done and have been undertaken, and the results we have is it has a lot of minerals. The temperatures for the swimming pool ranges between 38 to 39.5, and anybody can swim from a small baby in below 3 months up to any age.
Visitors to the spa pool can also enjoy a range of health facilities, including, among others, massage therapy and yoga classes. These treatments are designed to promote relaxation, detoxification, and overall well-being.
The reason why you find that a number of clients would swim and after that they feel like they want to eat again, even after taking food, because the toxins have been removed. That is subject to verification by scientists.
In addition to the geysers, Lake Bogoria is also a paradise for bird watchers. The alkaline lake is home to over 350 species of birds, including flamingos, pelicans, and cormorants.
Before I came here, I read a book which is written by a Denmark writer with the title of Out of Africa. I think the book was written many years ago, and when it was about 10 years ago, I read the book, and then all the things about Africa haunted me. But in Africa, this is not the first country I came. The expression of those countries are not my expectation in Africa. So I came here, Kenya. I think maybe I thought I had find my feelings, my expressions, or my dream place here in Kenya.
During the peak migratory season, the lake becomes a spectacle of color and sound as thousands of birds flock to its shores. Visitors to Lake Bogoria speak of their experience as one that leaves a lasting impression about Kenya.
In other places, we also see the animals, but must be in the zoo or not very in culture. They are sleeping.
Baringo is one of the regions associated with dry weather conditions, but such initiatives, tree planting, would make your vacation more comfortable and even prompt you to extend your holiday and maybe discover a new venture, one that you will live to remember. Erin Mchuma Udim, magical sense in the county of Baringo.
Magical Scenes comes to you every Thursday. Now, the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization is contracting 200 farmers for a rice seed multiplication project aimed at enhancing distribution of certified hybrid seeds as part of a 5-year strategy aimed at growing production.
Kenya imported 937,000 tons of rice worth 55 billion shillings in 2023. The country plans to reduce by half rice imports over the next 5 years by increasing local production. Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization has, in partnership with the Korea Partnership for Innovative Agriculture, rolled out a 5-year hybrid seed multiplication project that will see 200 farmers contracted to drive the commercialization and distribution.
For us to be able to close that gap, we need to have a seed system which ensures quality seed, affordability, so that farmers are able to increase production.
The Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization says the country's rice seed systems needs to be formalized and strengthened to make them more effective in addressing certified seeds accessed by farmers.
We'd like to move farmers, maybe up to 60-70% of them use certified seed. That will increase production.
Kenya consumes 950,000 metric tons of rice annually, while production is about 200,000 metric tons.
Consumption of rice in the country is going up, especially because of the young people who are abandoning ugali and going for rice.
The program will see some seed experts and extension officers trained in South Korea on proper rice production. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Interesting. Higher demand for rice because the young people or the Gen Zs are abandoning ugali for rice. Now, sugarcane farmers drawn from Nyando Sugar Belt want millers to abide by the Sugar Task Force recommendation on cane zoning to address rampant poaching of sugarcane. Here's Achola Simon with the details for you.
Sugarcane farmers drawn from the Nyando Sugar Belt say the reluctance of some sugar millers to withdraw their weighbridges from Nyando Sugar Belt poses a threat to sugarcane zoning.
So that was agreed, and all the stakeholders unanimously accepted that was the only way out to bring order in the industry. And therefore, currently, that is what AFA as a board is trying to implement. And of course, even before the implementations, we sat with all the stakeholders, the farmers and our millers, and we agreed that be implemented.
They said already millers in the sugar belt are not crashing to capacity, and any encroachment by millers domiciled out of the sugar belt is likely to adversely affect factories.
We don't want to repeat the last year's 4 months downtime, which forced us to shut down the mills for indefinite period. That was in the in the central region due to shortage of mature cane.
We speak today. Moroni sugar loan crushing capacity in a month is 42,000 tons. And if you look at the record financial year 2024-2025, I have the records here. There is no month where we will have a mature cane up to above 40,000. And to make it worse, in the month of December, the capacity of cane available for crush is only 8,000 tons against 45,000 tons required.
They are also calling for speedy implementation of the recommendations that are currently in the Senate. Sugarcane farmers and workers at the state-owned millers are also concerned about the amount pledged by government for settlement of arrears of sugarcane deliveries and workers' arrears.
I have asked the peers to let us know how much is owed to clear the pending workers' arrears. And why there was discrepancy? Because in Zoya, one company is getting 150 million. 4 companies in the Skalro are dividing 150 million. These are all public entities run by taxpayers' money. So we are waiting for an explanation.
Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
Singapore's economy seems on track to improve from last year's. Key sectors strengthen and cost pressures stay in check, according to the central bank's latest annual report. The Monetary Authority of Singapore expects trade-related sectors to get a boost from the recovery of the global electronics industry, with modern services which include financial, info communication technology and media improving from 2023 thanks to the expected peaking of global policy interest rates. Details of this and more stories across the globe.
The growth in travel and domestic-oriented segments of the economy will moderate but stay above trend, despite Singapore's economy losing some steam in the first quarter of the year after gathering pace in the later half of last year. It is expected to grow 1% to 3% in 2024, up from 1.1% in 2023. Advance estimates earlier this month put second quarter growth at 2.9% from a year earlier, better than markets had expected, but a touch lower than the first quarter's 3.0% expansion. A bright spot was manufacturing, which contributes a big chunk to gross domestic product and swung to growth in the second quarter from a contraction in the first 3 months of the year. Meanwhile, Finnish telecom equipment maker Nokia said its operating profit fell 32% in the second quarter because of continued weak demand for 5G telecom equipment, but forecast a demand improvement in the second half. Its comparable operating profit fell to 423 million euros from 619 million euros in the same quarter a year earlier. Nokia said its net sales fell 18% year-on-year in constant currency, largely because the pace of investment in 5G technology in India, which accounted for about 12.5% of total 2023 sales, slowing down after rapid growth a year before. However, the company kept its full-year guidance for comparable operating profit between 2.3 billion and 2.9 billion euros. Finally, LG Display, which commercialized tandem OLED displays for the first time in 2019, will mass produce its third-generation tandem OLED products for automobiles with increased display brightness and durability beginning from 2026. LG Display has set 2026 as the year for volume production of the third-generation tandem OLED displays for automobiles, which improved brightness and power consumption by 20% compared to second-generation ones, beginning the full-scale development on July 18th. Lorraine Chipchirchir for Prime Edition.
Well, that marks the end of business. Up next, we have sports with Karen Kibet.
Kwa majina anajulikana kama Kripina Kundu, libero wa Kenya team Malkia Strikers. Napenda kutumia hiyo kundu sana chini ya babangu. Kwa hii game ya Olympics tumejitahidi sana. Tulianza mazoezi like hii wiki ni ya 3, tunaenda kumaliza ya 3. Tangu tuanze tumeprepare vizuri and tuna hope round hii we'll do something. Either tutapita na mtu ama tuchukue set. Hii ni Olympics yangu ya pili. Nashukuru Mungu sana kwa sababu kuna wale ambao wangetamani sana wakuwe hapa lakini wangeweza. Mimi nashukuru Mungu kwa kuwa hapa.
A very good evening to you. Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's now talk sports. Now, with only 8 days to the commencement of the Olympic Games, the sports principal secretary, Engineer Peter Toom, has declared the Kenyan team is ready for the games slated for the 24th of July through to the 11th of August in Paris, France. Kenya is set to be represented by a total of 72 athletes, featuring in 6 disciplines.
Team Kenya is intensifying its preparations in Mombasa, France, ahead of the 33rd Olympic Games. National Olympic Committee of Kenya President Paul Tergat said the pre-training camp was crucial to the team's acclimatization ahead of the Games.
Pre-training camp. This is something that we started in 2020 during Tokyo Olympic Games. And we want to see and give opportunity to our athletes in terms of acclimatization and also the time differences that might occur. Like in Tokyo, they were close to about 10 hours.
This year's Team Kenya representatives, despite having a humongous responsibility, have an opportunity to surpass or replicate the achievement of 4 years ago.
So are we prepared as a country? Yes, we are. Are the teams well trained? Yes, we are. So we are calling on Kenyans to be able, those of them who are able to travel to France from the diaspora or from Kenya and East Africa, to be there as a cheering sport.
At the Paris Games, Kenya is banking on programs that have been put in place so as to capture some of the events previously dominated by Kenyan athletes but have remained elusive in recent editions.
In the last few major competitions, we have had a beating, and all of us know.
It's something that...
However, at least Kenya also introduced the programs that went into ensuring that these athletes also train well. In the last 6 months, at least Kenya with National Olympic Committee had a program that set aside funds from the government to ensure that those who have already been selected could prepare well. They were put in camps with their coaches, and we saw the other day the results from almost Serem.
We had problems in football, we have had problems in steeplechase, we have had problems everywhere, and that is why now we are saying, once more, we are rebuilding as government those paths to get the talents that would have otherwise gotten lost.
Kenya is targeting to show up its medal tally at this year's Games after clinching 4 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze in Tokyo. Kenya is said to be represented by a total of 42 track and field athletes, 2 swimmers, 1 fencer, 1 judoka, volleyball and rugby across 6 disciplines. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition Sports.
Thank you, Okumu, for that detailed report. Moving on, Africa 100-meter record holder Ferdinand Omanyala hopes he can quench his thirst for success at this year's Olympic Games in Paris, where he'll be making his second appearance since 2020 in Tokyo.
Omanyala, who has been training at the Kenya pre-Olympic camp in Miramas, said he gained valuable experience from his first Olympic Games in Tokyo, where he reached the semi-finals with a national record of 10.00 seconds.
You know, I've come to learn over the years that it takes experience. You know, previously, the last Olympics, I had not competed with any big boys. I had not done any Diamond Leagues, any Continental Tour golds. So, I mean, it was a hard fruit to pick, getting in the finals. But now we are getting there, second fastest in the world, having competed with everybody, with anybody in the sports, and it's a whole different experience.
He has since built on his strength to at least get his first global title when he became the first Kenyan to win the 100 meters gold medal during the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and believes that will rub on in Paris.
Nok has always been doing their things professionally, which I really appreciate. From the Commonwealth Games, everything was handled very professionally, and coming to the Olympics again, they've done a very good job. We received our kits, the allowances are in. But I've been talking to athletes, I've been telling them, whatever we're going for at the Olympics is much bigger than the check that we've been signed for.
Meanwhile, the Kenya ambassador to France, Betty Cheron, visited the Kenyan team in Miramas, where she assured them of her full support in their pursuit for glory, adding that the team has attracted a huge fan base who will get a chance to meet and greet them during their stay in France as they cheer them to victory.
It's important, especially for the athletes, the sports people, to train, to acclimatize, to be in a place away from home that will prepare them for Olympics. So, first of all, for the athletes, being in Miramas is important for them.
The Kenya National Basketball Final League playoffs resumes tomorrow with the Division 1 and 2 teams in action before the Premier League sides resume their quests, led by defending champions KPA, who have to make a turnaround after losing their opening 2 games.
Despite losing Game 1 and 2 in the Kenya National Basketball Men's Premier League final playoffs at home in Mombasa, defending champions Kenya Ports Authority are hopeful of winning their remaining playoff games against Thunder to retain the league title. KPA lost Game 1 70-73 to Thunder on Saturday before losing Game 2 50-59 points on Sunday as the final series head to Nairobi for the remaining 3 games. Thunder are on a mission to dethrone KPA after taking the lead 2-0 and will be hopeful to seal victory of the weekend when they host the defending champions at the Nyayo Gymnasium, where they need one win to complete the task. KPA, on the other hand, have to win all the remaining 3 games to defend the title. In the ladies category, Equity Hawks are looking forward to win their 3rd playoff match to bag the Kenya National Basketball Premier League, having taken a 2-0 lead. They beat KPA 67-62 points and 66-64 points in their first 2 games last weekend, with the remaining games set for this weekend at Makande Hall in Mombasa.
Former Kenya Cup champions Kenya Harlequins preparations for the 2024-2025 season have received a boost after chloride oxide inked a sponsorship deal with the rugby side. The club signed a 1.5 million Kenya shillings deal with a battery company where the money will be channeled to the main team as well as the female team and the age grade sides. The partnership is set to enhance the youth programs as well as improve the welfare of the club's players. Kenya Harlequins have won a total of 8 Kenya Cup titles, with the last one coming in 2012.
We're excited and proud to support one of the oldest and most respected clubs in the country and be part of their journey towards being a sports giant. Rugby is more than a game to us and to everyone. It's a way of life. And maybe to use the Harlequins tagline, it's for the culture, it's part of our culture, rugby.
We're indeed happy that we've been able to get to this level. Been having discussion with chloride and we're able to turn fruitful, and all this will be to the benefit of our players.
Now finally, to matters rally. Ot Tanak set the quickest time during the shakedown of the Rally Latvia, the seventh round of the World Rally Championship. The Hyundai i20N Rally 1 hybrid pilot produced the benchmark time of 1 minute 33.6 seconds on his second round of the 3.58 kilometer shakedown stage, seeing off his teammate and championship leader Renewable by 0.3 of a second. Rounding out the shakedown top 3 was Takamoto Katsuta, the quickest of 4 Toyota GR Yaris cars across the line. Martin Sex showed a wealth of local knowledge to bring the Ford Puma Rally 1 across the line 4th quickest, a further 0.3 of a second back on Katsuta. Evans completed the top 5 in his Toyota. The rally restarts on Friday with the drivers tackling a total of 6 stages. And those are all the sports stories we had for you. Do have yourself a peaceful night. My name is Karen Kibet. My colleague Cynthia Nyamai will be right back. Cynthia.
Thank you, Karen Kibet. And that sums tonight's bulletin. We would love to say thank you so much to James, Jajun, and also Isaac John, who sent in so many questions on the interview. And I hope most of your questions were answered. From me and the rest of the team, we would like to wish you a very good night.
First of all, I want to thank my fans for always being there. And, we've had, it's been a roller coaster.